Okay, good evening. And we have a quorum, so we'll start the monthly meeting of the Board of Library Trustees. Other than the media being recorded for media, do we have any other recording devices present? No. Okay, and our first item on our agenda is approval of the minutes from February 13th, 2023. Could we have a motion, or if there are any discussion or questions about the minutes?
I make a motion to accept the minutes of.
Okay, thank you, Trustee Persons, and seconded by Trustee Ryan. Okay. We'll take a vote. Okay. Trustee Macy Phelps.
Aye.
Trustee Persons.
Aye.
Is Trustee Donahue? No, not yet.
I had to leave a message.
That's perfect. And the chair votes aye. So that's 4 ayes and I guess right now 2 not present. Okay, so let's move on to the director's report. It looks like things have been very busy. You have a few new things to tell us. And Lizzie, if you'd like to point out some highlights for us, that would be appreciated.
Yeah. Again, we're all thriving with busyness at the both libraries, and but some highlights I would say is that we did a winter reading challenge that started in the end of January, went through all the way through February, and it was really successful this year. I know we tried it other years and it didn't really take off, and we did. You know, if you came into the library and you could write a little review, we had a big board, a whiteboard that we started posting all of them. I put a few on Instagram, and you got, a ticket for a drawing for, we had 3 different baskets that were like cozy, that had like socks or like the neck heating warm thing and the thing of tea. And that was for the adults. And we were able to, we had over 200 total. Most of them were adults. So the kids one was a little less. Kids one is really big in the summer, but there were a lot of families that were like, oh, this is so nice because this is the boost they needed to read more in the winter to get them ready for the summer. So I think we'll keep it as an annual thing. And we're thankful for the friends who gave us the funding for the prize baskets. But yeah, you saw pictures of a few of the adults, one gentleman, and he seemed very excited. So I love that he won that. So it was great. And we had a prize basket at the Islington too. So you could go to both locations and put your tickets in. So there was that. It was exciting. We were doing, it's so great to see a lot of the programming, and we're going to meet to plan, the next 6 months programming, but to see already the strategy work that we did that kind of made it intuitive to bring in different, types of programs. So, we really wanted to focus on elementary age kids, older elementary that we kind of always missed. We did a lot for preschool and toddlers and, kindergarten, and then, the teens, but it was that like middle grades. So Christy has brought in a few different, we call them performers, but programs doing STEAM. So a lot of them are STEM. This month we're doing, it's called Build Wave. And so they kind of integrate art and science and building and kind of get them all like different projects and challenges. So that's been really popular, and it's good to see that already before we officially started, staff was thinking about these things. And so off of that, I just want to highlight each month I'm now going to try to add into the materials with our action plan and things we were putting in there. So I won't read all of them, but some of the ones I was most excited about is under one of our actions was to build a powerful referral networks to have the library as that hub that helps people solve problems in their lives, and building on that. And so myself and Abby and Lena connected us with the new Veteran Services Officer, TJ Tedeschi, and he came to the library and to meet with us, talk about our services and how he can help. And we want to help him reach out to veterans in Westwood. He has there's like 5 different towns that he serves, and he's here every Monday. And so he's been working with the COA, and he was so wonderful. And we were standing in the library, and in the 10 minutes that he was there, we had 2 different individuals that overheard what he did and started talking to him. And, he's handing out his card. And I was like, this is why you need to connect with the library. So we were already talking about different program ideas. He loved the library as like a neutral ground. So some people might not want to go to COA. They don't see themselves there, or they don't want to go to like a group, but bringing in a speaker, he was saying, at the library, bring in some that focusing on the vets, and then he can kind of get to know them through that way. So I'm really excited about that collaboration. And it was, it makes sense to me, but it's nice to see how that can that relationship can grow. So he was really great. So I've already emailed him program ideas. I was like, you probably got more than you bargained for. And then, sorry.
Could you just spell his name for the minutes?
Sure. Let me get it. I just had it up here.
Brendan?
So TJ, and it's Tedeschi, Teddy, like TEDESCSCHI, Tedeschi. That's right. And then BB from BB's Cafe and Bakery, she reached out to us because she wants to host, and this weekend she's hosting a Persian New Year program. So she is bringing her, different food samplings for people to try, and that's this Saturday. So I'm glad that people are thinking of the library as a place for the community to gather and share different cultures and experiences. And then at the end of the month, we're having Jeff Snow. He's going to perform Celtic music, which, again, another thing that came out of the survey was people wanted more music and different programs like that, which we hadn't done in a while since Tom's Jazz on Sundays, Jazz Sundays. I'll have to bring it back for Tom. So anyways, I'm excited about a few of those things, and just some great collaborations we have with different networks. Christy's been working with Janet Lucy at the Early Childhood and Youth and Family Services, so that they can do parent cafes where on Tuesday nights parents come and they have Youth and Family Services social workers there to talk about anything postpartum issues, family, how to help your child through this thing informally, and kind of share with each other and build, again, strengthening different families. So it's, as the library, we're the host and provide snacks and are there and provide resources, but again, it's great to bring the professionals to the community, and the library can kind of be that connector. So those are some of the things I'm excited about.
Is that like is that kind of like that's just an open house kind of format, or is that like?
So they register, so they know how many social workers have, but you can register, and then, we provide water and some snacks, and it's, after bedtime. So it's like 7:30, and well, cause it's families, but it's a lot of women. It's funny because Chrissy's like, you should come to Parent Cafe, when I came in, and I was like, my night last night, trying to do dinner, all these things. But they did them many years ago, and I'm glad that Janet decided to kind of bring it back and figure out a way to, again, bring in Youth and Family Services. So we have somebody at the table who's, using their skill set to be like, hey, here's why don't we try this, and meet people where they're at. So
it's a wonderful resource.
Oh, great.
New parents. That's a wonderful resource.
Oh my gosh. Yes. Especially right now.
And I love that it looks like we're reaching out to some of those populations that we talked about with the strategy and so forth. That's great. That's great. Okay. Anything else, Lizzie, for the moment?
No, I don't want to jump the gun yet. Oh,
No?
I do have one thing, because I didn't pull it aside, that I would like to, we're trying to plan a staff development day, and one feedback I received from staff in the summer and reminded me when I came back was having a full day to do development. We normally do like a staff meeting that's a couple hours, and it's usually just a meeting. It's where I can get everyone in the same room. We try to do something or bring a speaker in, but it's only like 3 hours, so it's pretty short. So other libraries do, once a year, they'll close the library for a day. So you have a whole day of, training or something. And I think in my previous report, the feedback I received is really wanting more on behavior management and security and kind of looking at our building and how do we react to this. So I've requested, where I'm going to look at a Friday, May 5th. We don't have anything going on that day, and nothing is booked. So it seems like a good time to preemptively, way in advance, close the library that day and get some people in there so they can give them a full day of, hopefully a fun icebreaker game there too. But I really want to meet them where they're at. And then, that that seems to be the loudest voices for that sort of thing. So that's what I'm looking to do. So I just wanted to let the board know far in advance that that was something I was looking for. And I've looked
Okay.
support for the board.
Okay, yes. And, you know, a good, in terms of timing, if we're going to do it before you'll get everybody because vacations would start and so forth. So,
Oh, yes, exactly. And then
probably-
June
yeah.
is way too crazy with summer
Mhm.
reading and getting it
right,
into school.
right. Okay, so shall we move on to the budget?
Yes.
Can I just ask a question on that?
Sure.
Is that something that, do we have to vote on that?
I don't remember if I honestly, I put it in there because I don't remember. I know that when we came back from COVID and we closed on Thursday mornings, we used to just use that as our like de facto time. And I know I brought it to the board to discuss kind of giving a heads up that because we don't have that Thursday mornings that I would have to pick, like it never had to be brought up because we always use that time. So we never had to actually like announce and close. But when we stayed open for that time, this is all I remembered is that I brought a discussion of, giving you a heads up that a couple times a year, I would either close for a few hours in the morning, and we had done a Friday morning. So we can absolutely vote on it. I don't know what past precedent is for that.
I think as long as the public at large knows in plenty of advance notice. I think that's the one thing you'll have to do. Make sure that you have signage up and
Yeah.
so forth, that you would be closing for the day.
Right.
Yep.
And, the topics that you're talking about certainly warrant having everyone present to hear the same thing in terms of, those topics particularly, I think.
I'm also just trying to think through, I mean, there's no difference to our budget,
Right.
one way or the other. So, I mean, that's not an issue, I guess. And I agree with what all of you have been saying. The only other thing, and it's not around a time when the library is closed for other,
Right.
reasons, holiday, whatever. So
Holidays,
our
yeah.
patrons shouldn't feel like they're being, unnecessarily burdened by another
Right.
closure, another close. So,
Yeah, like if it was right after a week after a holiday, right?
right. So I just wanted to kind of think through that for a minute
Okay.
longer, but.
Okay,
Yeah.
we can
This is
revisit
still
it too.
Yeah, we can revisit it.
Screwed up.
Okay. Okay, all right, then next is the budget.
So I've just been keeping it on here. I think it used to be on, but I don't really have that big of an update. I know that FinCom is first public hearing, or it's not the first one, but the operating budget is being brought to the public tomorrow evening. It's on Zoom. So I will be attending if they have any questions. And then there will be another session at the end of the month that I think will be in person. Well, yes, it will be in person because I think after the March date. So then we will be there too, just in case there's any questions that pertain to the library that need any context. I'll be there to speak to that. For the FY23 budget, it's in good shape. We're keeping it. This is the time of year that I'm more than last year. We're having to be very thoughtful and keep it tight because we do not have as much wiggle room as we have coming out of COVID. So, certain lines are even things like paper, you know what I mean? We have to be thoughtful of,
Right.
okay, I want to make sure I can cover that. So we're just being very thoughtful. So we're not in any dire situation. It's just now the next few months, we're kind of tightening our belt as they were. So, but we are on a good course. We plan ahead so that we have everything spent by July, by the end of June, and, make sure that there's no disruption.
Okay,
So that's
sounds
my-
good. Any questions, Mary Beth?
Can you just remind me, if we had an approval for any type of funding for the soundproofing? Can't remember.
Yeah, we do. We have
Capital
capital, we
budget.
have 50,000. And I do have a meeting on Wednesday on Zoom with a company that I think the high school used. I think they worked with the architects that did the main library. So that's a bonus because they already know the layout, but I am also very, very prepared to speak about some of the choices that were made in terms of the sound. So I will update the board on the next meeting to see how that goes. But Jimmy's definitely been reaching out to different vendors to see if we can get someone in there to add. I mean, after all these years, we have the money there. Now we just need to get something in place.
Thank you.
Yes. Okay. All right. Any other questions regarding the budget? No, okay. Thank you for keeping us updated, and we know you're watching that bottom line.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, a poet laureate is next, Maria and Nancy. If you want to update us on the poet laureate? So-
Well, Lynn Vitti has been chosen. It really was, with a couple of strong candidates, very strong. And so, but all things being considered, we felt that that Lynn would be the best choice for a myriad of reasons. And also because she's already doing a lot of the things in town. She's also very excited about it, which makes me so happy that she's excited about being chosen and wants to do it. And I think she'll be able to mentor the next one, whether she does it again, applies again or not, but she'll be able to kind of set the tone for the program to keep it going and keep it at a really nice level, a nice high level, but also a very positive level for the town and for the whole piece of it. So she is going to be the guest speaker at the FOL May meeting, May 18th. And
she
so
is.
that will be really nice.
And I think we will have the youth poet laureate chosen
Yes, by then. Yeah.
by then, who could,
Yeah.
attend with her. And I was telling Maria before the meeting started that I had met with Lynn. She, this week came in and we created a page on our website that can kind of be the home base of explaining what the poet laureate is and what her plans are and events. And she wants, open hours that she can be at the library if any citizen wants to talk about poetry and meet with her and learn more about it. And when she publishes a poem as part of this position, that's one of the places that we're going to post it. So she did give me one for March that is called Not Irish Enough. So I will be posting it on social media. It's a beautiful poem, and Beckett's name is listed as one of the writers in there that she's. So I was like, oh, I like that choice. But I wanted to highlight that we will, we've been working together so that there'll be, again, a place where her you can reach out to her and contact her through the library, and I'll be sharing some of her stuff on social media. So we will put something out in the Wire that comes out and the Westwood Word.
Okay, that's great. Thank you. Very good. Anything else, Maria?
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Not that I can think of. Nancy, are you
Okay.
there? Well, she has been chosen, and I think it's just going to go forward.
Okay.
She's excited about it, and
That's
think it'll be
great. And I'm
great.
glad she's going to be at the FOL meeting. That'll, give her, people a chance to meet her if they haven't and talk to her. And if we have a teen poet by then, they can be introduced too. So that's great. Very nice. Good work. A lot of work went into
a lot
that.
of fun too.
That's good. Okay, well, the next is the Friends of the Library, an update on that. So we're going back to you, Maria and
Okay.
Nancy, if she's available.
It's interesting because right before the meeting started, I just read another email from Tina about stuff going forward. I don't know if you've even seen it, Liz, but we were at the meeting. Unfortunately, some people have retired from the committee. So if you know anybody who would like to be on the board as a member at large or in a post, a couple of the people are going off. But it's a great group of people. They're very hard workers. Nancy and I, well, first it was going to be, should we have another book fair or not? Should we go to a kind of a bookstore type thing where every month, like Nancy and I have September, would we be there 3 days a week, a few hours a day, and people could come into the book room and browse or not? In the last email I just got, Tina thought that the community and talking to a few members enjoy the book sales. So we'll go back to the book sales, see how that goes. And that's the last thing I heard. We're going to have a book sale. The other thing is the bin. The bin was very good. It worked out well. But there are all these permission things from the town and the place and so on and so forth. So the bottom line is the bin has to be taken out. It made a little over $700. And they were taking it out last week. So I rushed there, brought a whole bunch of older books. But they'll be weighed and we'll get money back from that. They're trying to get a bin at the senior center, which I think will be a great place because A, there's a lot of room. B, it's a central location. So I thought that was a very good choice. It will take a little bit of time to get it set up, but I think that's the way the bin is going to go. And in terms of the book sale, we have committees where a couple of people are going to set up who's going to work at the actual book sale, people going into the book room to catalog the books and so forth. I suggested letting other people know, because when I was in there by myself, first of all, the room is 100 degrees, so it's awful hot.
I
And
think they
second of
fixed that,
all,
hopefully they have fixed the
Yeah.
heat. We had some areas that were really hot and others not so much, so. But
but
yeah,
I just felt it would be nice to be there with somebody else to say, well, what do you think about this book? Do you think it should be thrown out, or should it be, should we put it in a particular location? Is it really business or is it history? You know, that kind of thing. And so it's nice to have somebody there to bounce ideas off of. And they didn't say anything about pricing. I think that would be a good thing to discuss, but that hasn't come up. I was going to email Tina about that. And let me see what else. So there's a lot going on. As I told you, May 18th was going to be the culmination meeting. Let me see what else. So there was a lot of ideas flooding back and forth. What should we do? There's not enough people to do this. Nobody wants to do that. So there was a lot of that discussion. One thing came up that I thought was good, because of COVID and all the puzzles that people were doing, that we could have, you know, we could get, I think, gently used puzzles and have a sale on puzzles, which I thought was a great idea. We did a lot of puzzles here then too. So that's a possibility. I think it's going to be after the book sale. You know, it's a storage problem. I think that's part of the issue. So things are a little bit in flux. You know, whether we should have the book sale, whether we should do the bookstore approach. I think it's going to go to the book sale. And
Trustee Macy Phelps. Oh, I'm sorry. Mary has a question.
Nancy, you may have just answered my question, Maria. I was, going to ask about the possibility of simply having presence for people, for patrons to be able to browse books in the room. I know my husband and I were in Maine last year, and we always like to visit the local library. So we went to the library in Blue Hill, Maine. And they have their friends room. It's available all the time. You actually get a key from the front desk.
Yeah.
And then you bring your books up to the front desk and you pay there. Is that something that the friends are considering, or
Yes.
yeah. I think I was just reading the update, Maria, and I think they're going to try to, and it does make sense when you lay it out, like, so the book sale that we do, people love the experience of it when it's big.
Oh yeah, I did.
No, I agree with you.
So that
No,
was great, but maybe I
do
wonder
both.
if maybe that even if it was like, I don't know, one day a month or something like that.
Yeah.
I agree. Yeah.
No, I
Yeah.
think
Help with some of the storage problems.
that's exactly it.
Yes.
Mary, I was just reading this, and she does say that when the book sale room gets full, we can have a big one, but we can keep the community letting the room in, and it will help it keep it clear. So it never gets, we've always had storage problems where they're
Yes.
Yeah.
staff
Yeah.
room. Now
Yeah.
that should kind of keep things moving.
Yes.
And there's a variety of ways to pay. You can, I don't know, I don't use PayPal. I would Venmo, but they don't do Venmo. They have a
which is similar. I
Well,
think
what-
it's like another app that's like Venmo. It's Square Cash.
Yeah.
So you can
Yeah.
still, and
Square Cash, yeah.
people use that at the Nook right there. So they'll either bring a book up to the desk or they just will, scan it.
Yeah, or you can you could go up to the desk and bring a check or cash, and then the librarians will take care of it. So there's all of those ways to do it. But I do hope that we can do the bookstore type thing. I agree with you.
I think both are useful.
Mhm.
I think
Yeah.
I think it's a fun way to do it too, when you have maybe a little bit more at your leisure, instead of running in on a particular day and
Yes,
so.
yes.
But
Yeah.
but the book sales,
Okay.
my husband would echo that, I'm sure.
3 votes.
Okay,
So,
all right. Thank you, Maria. That's
You're
great.
welcome. I don't know where
Um,
Nancy is, but she was, are you there,
Yes.
Nancy?
I
don't think you
am.
wanna
I don't
add
know.
any-
Can you
Did you
hear
want to
me?
add? Pardon
Yes,
me?
we can hear you.
Okay. Yeah, I'm having a lot of issues with my laptop tonight. I apologize.
Oh,
That's
no
all
problem.
right.
Yes, we can hear you and you can hear us, so that's good. Um,
Point
Um,
more, that raises a question, Maureen.
mhm.
I thought I heard Lizzie say something about, oh, then we'd be meeting in person. Are we coming? Is this our last trustee meeting remote?
I don't know that. I was going, was
I was
supposed
gonna
to
ask
be.
that on, under new business. I think it
Yeah.
is, because I
Okay.
think it gets out at the end of, no, that's because I wanted to I wrote myself a note, Mary, because I was like,
Right.
because I think the Zoom,
Right.
whatever, virtual meeting is end of March 20 something.
Oh, I thought it was May 11th.
No, I don't think, I haven't, usually Dottie
And
will
I
say
haven't seen anything about it being extended at this point, so.
Yeah, this says, yeah, March 31st.
That's what I thought it was, March
Oh,
31st.
okay.
Yeah.
So,
first.
yeah,
So yeah, then we would be meeting, and the April and May will be in person.
okay.
Yeah, it's
Um,
clear. It seems like there might be a home rule petition or something that's going to the legislature, but I don't know.
I also heard that there might be some language about, doing hybrid things or something, but I think they're going to let us know something before that date.
Okay.
But we may need to anticipate doing that in April, which,
Mhm.
is fine, and we could think about having a meeting at the branch too,
Yes.
so
That'd be a big deal.
that would be
Yeah, fine.
nice.
I was gonna say,
Maria?
can we get a rollies or no?
Maria, did you have something?
Yes, I neglected to say that at the next meeting, at the May 18th meeting, we're going to try to get a basket, raffle basket, and some suggestions were tea, poetry book, keep it in line with the poetry. So some things like that, if people wanted to donate some items and make a basket to raffle. And they talked a little bit about a variety of ways to fundraise. Not just-
Okay.
So,
Okay, all right, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, so the next thing is approval of acceptances and expenditures, which we all have a copy of. Were there any questions or comments about that before we? Okay, so I would take a motion. Mary, thank you.
second,
Seconded by Maria, thank you. And we'll take a vote. So trustee Ryan,
aye.
trustee Donahue,
Aye.
trustee Persons,
Aye.
trustee Macy Phelps.
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. So thank you. That looks, I think the way we're doing it now is clearer.
clear,
So
yeah.
that's good.
For that,
Yes,
Yeah.
okay. So
New business.
new business.
my only new business was about the meeting.
Okay.
Can I just ask,
Anybody else?
it's
Yes, go
something
ahead.
tangential to that. We were talking about whether it's Zoom or not, but your Zoom room idea, the Zoom room idea or concept, were you talking about the large conference, the Roche Brothers conference room, or the small one?
The small one,
The
the,
small one.
yes, so that looks right now to be the only perfect space that in town for town buildings to make it a true hybrid space at a Zoom room. And so Melinda from Westwood Media, she has been kind of spearheading this for the town since Westwood Media does so many of the meetings. And I know in the fall they had looked in and thought of the owl. And so now we're looking into a smart TV setup where there was a demo that I attended on Zoom where it truly is a Zoom room. So the TV itself is has the camera and the audio in it, and you log into that Zoom, and the gentleman who was doing it, he went up down the end of the room and you could still hear it like he was right there. And it was I mean, it's expensive, so I think that that's something that the town and I will have to, discuss, but if that, I mean, it does make sense that that room with the size of it could be a place where true hybrid meetings could be, that it really did feel like you were sitting around a table. So I think
Yeah.
that the town is willing to invest in so that it, it'll be used by the public as well, but
Yeah.
it would definitely a kind of a cool thing that the library could.
Yes,
It would just be an
Post.
interesting, it would just be, if that the case, I'm just wondering, the scheduling of that room would become quite the, uh,
yeah,
quite the
gonna say,
challenge, maybe,
first come,
yeah,
yeah. Especially because that's a room that's used probably, it's a nice room for a lot of
yeah,
reasons. So
Mhm.
groups that might not want it for Zoom, but they want.
People
because
want it for the
slides.
atmosphere of
Right.
it, absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, but,
Definitely something to consider. I mean, it would have to be, right now, all the scheduling does go through, a calendar that we hold the reins of, and,
right.
I mean, it would definitely be like, this is a feature of this room that we have this capability, but to your point, that's where the Tuesday poetry writing group meets. So it's
Right.
definitely used for other things. Yeah.
Yes, so that's good, and I like the way you said that, we hold the reins, so
Yeah,
have
we
to
do.
give priority to some of our programs,
And we have
right?
that in our meeting room policy that we do prioritize, library programs.
Library activities,
And some meetings
yes,
before, something else, but.
yes. Any other new business tonight? Mary?
Just give a quick report on the 21st Century Fund.
Sorry, Mary, I couldn't remember when we met. I didn't know if we discussed it last time. I'm sorry, I left it off the agenda.
That's okay. No, I did give a report last time, but
Yes.
on the side, Lizzie and I have been working on the side on a number of things that came out of that meeting. The tote bags are in.
Oh, they are.
So those have been given out to staff as thank yous. These are the tote bags with the main
Yes,
one on one side and the Islington branch on the other side.
I did see them, they're really nice.
Yeah, and
Did we buy them?
yes, Lizzie is working on that. So yes, they can be bought. And we're also working on a poster that could be used as a flyer or a poster talking about the 21st Century Fund. And the idea is that we could have a poster in the library. So for example, if there's an event we could just have the poster in the library, talking of, just reminding people of what the fund has funded in the past and what we might be looking to fund in the future, including things like the bookmobile.
Mhm.
We're talking about possibly an upgrade to Wi-Fi hotspots. These are all things that that are in the works, that are in Lizzie's plan. The marvelous thing about the plan is it gives the fund a vision that we can fund. Concrete
Yes.
thing that we can do that. So those are things, nothing's approved or formalized yet, but we're looking to get those ready for the fund to vote on in the near future. And in some of those cases, we're also looking to see how can we use those things to get the word out about the fund. For example, if the fund were to fund to pay for new Wi-Fi hotspot kits, put the flyer about the fund in the kit. So when it gets out,
Yes,
that's how
good
we-
idea. Yeah.
Talking about some good options there. Lizzie's got some great ideas and, expect to have to know more about that in the coming meetings.
Yeah.
I think that's a great idea for, when you do your fundraising.
Exactly. Yep.
Yes, to have that concrete thing there. Yeah, very good. I only wanted to just bring up, the strategic initiative information that you gave us. Which, what I loved about it is what's highlighted and that you can just read through it so
Okay.
easily and see what's going on. I think this is great. And, it really kind of brings to the reality of, you talked about it being a living plan and being, seeing it this way is great, really is. And,
Yeah, I've been
you
meeting
know.
with department heads and so I said, I showed them this is what I've been doing. And so now,
Mhm.
I said, when you do have something, this is what, as I said, this is organically, it's happening, but I asked them to send me emails. And so, I do get, hey, just so you know, this is a person I booked and it's under this category, or we're thinking about wellness programs. So,
yes.
and so
Yeah.
it's on everyone's mind. And as we're
Yeah.
looking forward straightforward. It's not something of checking a box. It's just, it's nice to then go back and realize, oh, it is informing what we're doing in the shape of things. And, oh, I remember someone in the survey said this, and look
Yes.
at, we're bringing that in. So,
And it demonstrates the collaboration that's going
Yeah.
on too.
and
So.
I liked this from the very beginning, because to me that I didn't want it to be, oh, that was such a pretty plan and we put it away and now we're just doing other things. So
Yeah.
this definitely keeps us, focused.
Yes, and I think that answers the questions, so, okay, we did that plan, so what's happening? And it's right here, right, out loud, which is great.
One of the things that I plan on working with on as well, it kind of kicks with the 21st Century Fund we've been doing, is putting together a brochure and something that announces the strategy, right? I mean, we post it, it's on the website, but really making it, as we talked about, like something someone can grab and understand. And I want them to know, not that they have to memorize the initiatives, but know what, oh yeah, that's right. We have added new chairs to this area. Everyone really wants cozy seating. So I'll be looking to, really put some marketing into the plan so the community also knows what's happening.
That's great. Thank you, Lizzie.
Thank you.
Okay, this is the part of our meeting where we invite the public who are present with us on Zoom to comment or ask a question. If there's anyone who would like to do that.
Melissa, Wendy.
Anyone? No, just. I think Lizzie, you could let us know if they're, or will they be raising their hand that you can see?
Yes, I think I
Okay.
permitted them to speak if they want to, but I don't see any little hands or anything, I don't think.
Okay, well.
Maybe they
thank
need
you.
to unmute. Maybe.
Mary
Yeah.
Beth?
If no one else has a question, I just have a follow-up from last month. Could you just give us an update, if there is any, on the patron behavior?
Yeah, I can give you an update. It has been, I almost don't want to say it out loud because I'm like, things have been nice. They've leveled out. Some of Wednesdays and Fridays are still, as always, can be very loud. But as I said last time, it's coming back from school vacation. You kind of have to remind students of all ages of, oh, we're back in the library, and I know you're loud and you're excited to be back. But so after doing that, I think with that type of behavior has leveled out. We do get a lot at this time of year, adults who are stressed out and maybe having to do their taxes. And if someone's coming to the library to try to fax something, they're very elevated because they're stressed. And so sometimes that can boil over. Nothing too bad, but that's just something I'm always aware of. And that's part of the training we want, is to de-escalate. And when someone is rising, and you never know what someone is going through. And so it's just might be a printing problem, but it's not. So this is some of the data that I'm collecting from staff, is like, when are times that you do feel uncomfortable, or that this person is stressing you out, or you're starting to get, like you're backed up and they're just upset about a printing job, So it's interesting because, again, it could be, middle schoolers who are talking back to you, or it could be an adult who's raising. So luckily, since last month, it seems to have leveled out, but I definitely know it's one of those things where I'm trying not to forget, like, oh, it's not a problem anymore. So that's why I do want to respond to their needs of being trained enough so it's muscle memory, and you're prepared for the worst, I should say.
Mhm.
But
That's
thank
very
you.
realistic. I mean, that happens to everyone, in all
At
parts
any
of your
front
life.
page
So
thing, right?
yeah,
Yes.
that's,
Yeah.
and that's great not to just focus on the one part of the population that,
Mhm.
we kind of always know is a little.
Well, they're literally the loudest, the squeaky wheel.
Right, right. But no, that's outstanding. I'm sure that they'll really appreciate that support. I did notice on the window when you walk in, the door when you
Yes.
walk in, where you
I was
have
gonna say
the,
that.
Yes,
the behavioral.
Yeah, the behavioral expectations. Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's great.
I did too.
Awesome.
Yes,
That's
it
awesome.
I
is.
know, and it was like, we must have taken them all down for just COVID, we rehab
Yeah.
thing, we didn't.
Yeah.
And when we were talking to the dean at the middle school, Walker, he said, we have those written in a policy, but he's like, just have them very simple and right in front everywhere you can. So if you don't see it, you can still point to it. It's right there. And that kind of very clear language. And I think that has helped, as I said, like, the gallery might be really loud, but the kids are all eating in the gallery, which is where we want them to eat. And then they disperse. And so I call that a win.
Yes,
Awesome. That's great.
I agree. That's
Okay, thank
great.
you. Yeah.
Thank you for the question, Mary Beth. Okay, unless there's anything else, we can adjourn. I would say we talked about if we're meeting in person, so we'd, Lizzie, you and I can be in touch and we can send a notice out to the other trustees and decide where and so forth.
Right. I do have
if-
the main library meeting room is booked for the next 2, but if we decide to
Okay,
meet at the
perfect.
Brim, let me know.
Yeah.
We can decide that.
Okay, that sounds good. Anything else? Okay, so I'll take a motion to adjourn.
I move we
Thank you.
adjourn.
Thank you, trustee Donahue, and seconded by trustee Persons. We'll take a vote. Trustee Ryan,
Aye.
trustee Donahue,
Aye.
trustee Persons,
Aye.
trustee Macy Phelps.
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. So that's unanimous, and thank you all very much. Thank you, Lizzie, for a glowing, busy report. And everyone have a good, Yes,
Maureen, do you have the
yes.
date of our next meeting?
April
hang
10th,
on, April 10th,
April 10th.
Monday,
Okay.
April 10th, yes.
Okay.
Yes,
day after, I believe.
Oh,
yes,
yeah.
it is, yes.
Oh, how
And-
short, nice and short the meeting was with him. and-
I know, yes.
And you'll confirm in person or something else?
Yes,
Yes, I will
yes,
let
yeah.
Okay.
Sounds good. All
Thank
right.
you.